Blog Talk Radio.
The physical world is nothing more than a spiritual principle in motion.
You're now listening to Practical Spirituality with your host, Oasis, and co-host, Glammy Witch.
If it's not practical, it's not spiritual.
Don't we feel the same when we hear a baby laugh? Smell a rose from a beloved, or walk in the rain? We are all made of the same magic called life. Let us step together into a new earth.
All right, I think our technical difficulties now should have been solved. Seems like no one heard me for the second time. We're going to start all over again. Hello, Joanna, and welcome everybody to Practical Spirituality, and I want to say a Happy New Year to everyone who's listening, because I have not spoken to y'all yet, and tonight we have the KiCkAss Witch live with us, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself so that she can tell us all about us and exactly what the KiCkAss Witch is all about. So, Joanna, hi, how you doing? Happy New Year. So tell us all about yourself and the KiCkAss Witch. Happy New Year.
Well, First of all, I just heard Glammy in your intro say that if it's not practical, it's not spiritual. And that just hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, oh, my gosh. And I got on my laptop, and I was like looking up the word practical, and there's a definition here that says of or concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than with theory and ideas, and I think that is so powerful, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do with KiCkAss Witch. Aleister Crowley used to say, you put the K on magic to differentiate it from the magic of stage magicians and real magic, and that magic with a K is creating change in consciousness with one's will. So I love that. So my tagline is kind of, putting the K in magic. KiCkAss Witch, putting the K in magic. But that K is also meant in a very modern, fun way in terms of just kicking ass and actually getting things done in your life. So it's all about being practical.
Yeah, and that would be an amazing tagline.
Yeah, that's the name of the show, Practical Spirituality. Everything is meant to be practical, able to apply it, not just theory, not just thoughts, not just beautiful ideas, stuff we can actually use in our everyday life.
Right, because if it doesn't work, it's not really magic, right? Or if it's not practical, it's not really spirituality. I mean,
and if you're not applying it,
if it's not having an effect, what's the point?
Right, and if you're not applying what you learn, and if you're not applying, these things in your daily life, then it's there's no point to it. You gotta just do it.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, the voice that you just heard is my co-host, the beautiful Glammy Witch. I didn't get a chance to introduce her, but I'm introducing her now. That's our co-host, the beautiful Glammy Witch. And again, for those of you who are just joining us, we have with us the KiCkAss Witch, Joanna herself. Yes. So, tell us, Joanna, before we even get into anything, how can they contact? What are your services, and how can they contact you?
Well, I do offer some coaching, but the primary thing that I offer right now is a year and a day program called the Psycho Spiritual Wheel of the Year. But I also have a weekly radio show called Hippie Witch Magic for a New Age. I create tons of free content, and you can find it all at my website, www.joannadevoe.com. I've got a free ebook there. I don't know if I can swear on your show, but it's called, can I or not?
I mean, we've been saying ass already, so, you can just say keep the minimum. But go ahead, do you,
okay.
Do you?
Like, cover your ears if you're sensitive to swear words, because the title of the ebook is Hippie Witch, Peace, Love, and all that good shit. And it's just a title that suits me and my audience, the people that resonate with me, because I kind of do everything with a very like modern vernacular, with a wink and a smile. It's serious business, but I want to have fun. So I just put that out there right away so people know who they're dealing with.
Don't let her Pollyanna little Goldilocks braids fool you. I remember when I first saw Joanna on YouTube, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and wow, she's so sweet and quiet. And then it's like, oh no. And I loved it when she came out with the KiCkAss witch, and then see, oh no, this is not your typical witch. These little braids will throw you off. I mean, she's like, she means business, and it just cracks me up when we talk privately, and I am like, girl, you are a hot tamale. Like, you need to put this in your videos, girl. And it's just like, yeah, don't let those braids fool you. This is a smart chick.
I am the dark and the light, and I try to be that too. I don't get inspiration from people that talk like this and everything.
Oh
is
God,
always
no, doesn't inspire anything in me.
No, I want the full package. I want the whole person. Cry if you're gonna cry.
Or
laugh.
Scares me. That voice to me. That little calm, quiet voice to me sounds like the serial killer. Every time I hear that voice,
right? It's scary.
I think of Joel Osteen. Because every time I listen to Joel Osteen, I'm waiting for him to snap. No one smiles that much. No one has that monotone all the time. It scares. I don't like it. To me, that's the serial killer in the movie.
I do think there are people that authentically speak that way, and I'm totally cool with that. But I do think often certain people affect that and put that on because they think that's what it means to be spiritual.
Right,
and
exactly. Yeah, that's not my spiritual. I can't stay awake. Like, if somebody talks like that, I just automatically I zone out. I'm just like, do. It's like I'm in another world. So anyway,
that's
so
funny.
Joanna, what I wanted you to talk about a little bit is how you based the spiritual wheel. Like, how did you base like the way the workbook that you put together and things like that?
Okay, it's a year and a day program for people who want to do it like that, and it's.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up for a second.
It's time.
The audience
it's time.
The audience don't know what we're talking about, so let's back up for a second. What's the title
I'm going
your
to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called the Psycho Spiritual Wheel of the Year, and it's laid out like a typical wheel of the year that you might expect a pagan to follow. So every 6 weeks or so, there's another turn of the wheel, which really just means like a change of the seasons. And a lot of pagans traditionally honor that time in a variety of ways. And there's a lot of religious connotations about the god and goddess, a lot of mythology around that. And what I'm personally interested in is a more psycho-spiritual approach. I like the point where psychology meets spirituality. I guess I'm just a little more up in my brain with that stuff, and that's what resonates more with me. And that's what I was really craving more of when I got into the Wheel of the Year. So I ultimately was just like, well, I'm just going to create my own, because I could see how these different healing modalities that I had been working with over the years fit on this wheel very appropriately. So, for example, on Samhain or Halloween or Day of the Dead, that time of year, on my wheel I call it winter transition, which just means it's the time in between fall and winter. We're transitioning into winter. That's a perfect time for doing shadow work. So if you participate in this program, you can do one module at a time. You can do just one and never another one if something interests you, or you can do a whole, year of it, and you get like a pretty long PDF. They're usually around 30 pages long, give or take. There's a Crafty Witch project that we all do together with a video that's on theme for that turn of the wheel. There's a potion craft recipe that's on theme, and a lot of journal prompts. And then there's a private group on Facebook where we all, share the news of our Crafty Witch projects and talk about
so they're getting a lot.
Right? Yeah, it is. It's a whole experience.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I love that you put all of those things together. And, one of the reasons why, I wanted you on the show, because I was thinking, okay, if somebody wants to, they want to kick off the year and, what would be some good things? And I was like, you know what? I think that would be an amazing way to start off the year is doing a program like that just kind of, it's well-rounded. It covers a little bit of everything, but in a fun way and in a different way. So kudos to you, girl. Kudos.
Thank you. And you know what I'm really proud of? Well, there's two things I'm really proud of. One is, there's three things. I'm going to just start.
Damn, girl, go for it.
The group is awesome. So that's number one. The group is an amazing gathering of people that I never could have predicted would have come together. So I love that. But I'm really proud of that. The fact that when you're done with the year in a day, you have this whole, arsenal of psycho-spiritual tools, all of these awesome tools to help you for the rest of your life. Things that took me 20 years to learn, I've poured into this. And I don't remember what the third thing is. It'll probably pop into my head in a minute. But the group is amazing. I love that you get those tools. Oh, and the third thing is I like to joke that it's non-denominational, because it's not a Wiccan. It's not a Wiccan program. It's perfect if you're a Wiccan, you'll love it, or a pagan. But it's something that I thought, a really curious, open-minded Christian could do this, or an atheist. I have kind of an affinity for atheists. I get where they're coming from. So I thought this is something everybody could benefit from, and so I love that.
And what I liked about it was that I said, if there's, what's great is that, we start these things, we have all these New Year's resolutions, and then by March, it's done, right? You're done. You're just everybody's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, and, and then you're just kind of falling off. You're you're done, right? But I think that if you do a program like this, then your momentum keeps up for the duration, at the very least, for the duration of the program, right, which is at least a year. But like you're saying, they have these other tools and these other things that they can take with them anywhere, and they can maintain it if they want to instead of just doing something short term. So now, with your Facebook group, are they allowed to, do they just stay on for a year, or do they get to stay on after that? How does that work?
No, if you take one module, you're a lifetime member forever.
Wow.
It's
wow.
Nice. Yeah. And it's, also for people that are oh, I can't afford that, I sometimes offer scholarships. And like I said, I'm always offering free content on my weekly radio show and my blog. In my newsletters, they're always special. They're always just for my newsletter subscribers. It's not anything you'll find on my blog or my radio show. So I'm mindful of that too, because I was broke as a joke for the first, my adult life. So I understand that as well.
Right, exactly.
I try to be inclusive, and that's something you can do if you want to take it to the next level.
Okay, so now I have a question. Without giving away too much of your program, for those who are setting intentions, because, some of us, a.k.a. me, like to set our intentions a little bit late in the new year, and for those who, for those who are setting intentions, what advice could you give to them right now obviously to take your program, but what other advice could you give them right now? And for those who already have set their intentions, what advice could you give to them to help them stay on the right path?
Be gentle. Don't try to, do it all at once. I've been talking a lot about incremental change. What we kind of did in the program is focused on, for the winter solstice, instead of setting, New Year resolutions, it was really about easing your way into the new year and just kind of being quiet, which is in accord with winter and how everything kind of goes into a sleep or hibernation, and just getting in contact with your intuition and your feelings and thinking about, how do I want to feel? And then as the new year gets going and you're, really connected to, okay, how do I want to feel this year? You start thinking, well, what kind of things can I just do in my everyday life right now that don't cost any money and that I have at my, disposal right now that give me that feeling? So I don't know what that feeling would be for you. Maybe you're just I want to feel more freedom. So you start looking for things in your life. If your big idea is if I could just quit my job and move to an island, blah, 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 blah. If you have a fantasy like that, you get really clear and well, what if I had that fantasy? What is it that I think I would feel? You might be freedom. That's what that fantasy represents to me. So you start looking for little ways in your life right now that you can create space and a sense of freedom for yourself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Because it's I think sometimes we have to just approach something as to what is the desired effect, All right, so maybe you can't, run to an island and be by yourself and have that. But what is it that's the effect of doing something like that you wanted? And it's like you said, it's freedom. And I think if you look at other things in that way and say, okay, it may not be necessarily that you need to have that thing, but what can you do to just approximate what it is that you're trying to do, and do it in a more reasonable fashion where you're not trying to run away and be cast away or something. But just say, this is what I want, and okay, maybe I don't have to go to that extreme to get that what it is that I want, or that basically evoke that emotion.
Yeah, I think we focus on a material thing that we want, when what we really want is the feeling we think it will give us. So you can kind of reverse engineer from, if it's I really want that Lamborghini. I have to have that Lamborghini. I just want it. Why? And then you start asking why, and you're because I think it will make me sexy. Well, why do I want to feel sexy? Because I want to attract the opposite sex. Why do I want to attract the opposite sex? Because I want to feel loved. And it's ding, ding, ding. You get to the bottom of it, and you just, something opens up inside, and you're oh, I really just want to feel loved. Okay, well, what's the best way to feel love? The best way I know of to feel love is to give love. Kind of that's the only, love you get to keep is the love you give away. So it's fascinating to me. I love this stuff.
Well, you totally nailed it, because that's what I was trying to say is how can we, we think that, this is the one thing that we want, when really all we want is the after effect of once you've had it. And then it's oh, well, I can, that I can get that in a different way, so I love it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting about magic. I think that people that are attracted to magic initially we're looking to bring things to us, or do it on the behalf of someone else that wants things. But, if you're doing it for other people or you're doing it for yourself. And so that piece of it, I think, is really fascinating. It's well, what is it that you really want to bring into your life? And,
what's the result? Let's it's like you said, work backwards. The result that you want, what is it? It's this feeling. Okay. So let's work backwards, and how can we do that, and work it a different way instead of it's just, totally just looking at it from a different perspective. So I love that, too.
I love it because I'm all about shadow work.
Shadow work,
Yeah.
I'm
all about shadow work, and I love
too.
it because and looking at your intentions in the way that she does, in the way she explains it, you have to do shadow work with the intentions to see the reason why you set the intention. So I love it.
Yeah, no, and that's so funny that I totally agree.
On the wheel.
You know what? Oh my gosh,
you do that. It makes sense.
Love it. It does make sense because that was one of the things. I had a couple of things like clips and things like that. That what do we need to do? What do we really just want to do when we do these things and we set resolutions? And it's basically like you're just cleaning everything out. You're just clearing everything out from like the year before, and you're clearing your mind. You want to clear your body. We always want to do better, have better eating habits, and cleaning out the closet and cleaning out your soul, and just basically that's everything that you're doing. And so I don't know. I think that shadow work is definitely one of the things that if you really want to just kind of open up and really just take care of business, you have to do that work where you look at that side of yourself. And especially at the beginning of the year, I think is a great time to say, you know what, I really want to kick off my year. I really want to change things. How can I do that? You know what? I have to do the ugly stuff. We have to dust out those, those things that nobody wants to talk about and nobody wants to really, you don't really want to acknowledge. But, I think it's just a good way to just take that stuff out, just do it, and work on it and put it behind you. Put that shadow stuff behind you. Shed some light on it. And at the beginning of the year, just move on so that the rest of your year can just be, like, really amazing. And you can't receive anything and you can't have things come to you if you're clouded with all this stuff, from the past and things like that. So exactly. I think it's a great way to start off the year.
Exactly. But I do want to be clear about one thing now, because I don't want people to get misinformed. Shadow work is not easy. If it's easy, you're not doing it right.
That's why nobody wants. That's why it's called shadow work because nobody wants to do it. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not easy.
Shadow work, since we're talking about shadow work, for those who don't understand exactly what it is, I'm going to let our KiCkAss witch, who does this with love, and also KiCkAss because she don't take no excuses, get it done. I would like you to explain it. Can you explain a little bit exactly what shadow work is for those who are new to the process?
Yeah, I don't think it's that scary. I think people think it's scarier than it actually is, and it depends on what comes up for you, and it depends on where you are on your path, and it's something you can approach in baby steps. You don't have to, you can't ever. Your shadow's a part of you. It's going to be with you all the time. It's not like something you can get rid of. So one of the easiest, most basic entry-level ways to get in touch with your shadow, one of my favorite things to teach people how to do is to look at what you're projecting on other people. And the way that you do that is if one person, and can't really put your finger on it, but they just drive you nuts every time they do this certain thing, or just a certain kind of person bothers you, slutty girls. You hate slutty girls. They're skanks. They're hoes. They disgust you. If you have a really big reaction to something like that, if it really pushes your buttons, and there's a difference between I dislike that and there's no emotional reaction, or that really gets a rise out of me. If it really gets a rise out of you and sets you off, you are right over a shadow issue. There is something about that that reminds you of your own shame, and it's something that you're so ashamed of that you have pushed it way down, and that person is triggering that for you. And thing you're ashamed of, you think it belongs in the shadow. You have tucked it far, far away, and that person's just flaunting it around like crazy, and it's bugging you because you think it shouldn't be there. It's got to go away. And that is put in you when you're a child, or anytime you've been shamed, when adults shame you when you're a little kid, or the school system, or your fellow teenagers in high school, or television, that's where the shadow is born. And that's where we keep our deep, dark secrets. And in learning...
I love that. I've heard of that before, something similar. So that if there's something about someone or something, certain types of situations that really just bug the heck out of you, it's a good time to kind of say to yourself, all right, what is this bringing out, and really examine that and break it down, because that's where you'll find.
In what ways am I a hoe?
Good girl.
Or it could be in what ways do I desire to be a hoe that I don't feel comfortable with, so I'm not comfortable when someone else shows it.
Absolutely, it could be that.
Yes. But for everybody listening in online, the caller number is 347-989-8851, 347-989-8851. We will be going to commercial break soon, and when we come back, we will be going directly into our free reading. So, again, you want to get on those live calls now or call in and press the number 1 in about 5 minutes or wait till after the commercial break. Again, it's 347-989-8851. The one thing I want to say that I actually recently did shadow working on was my disdain for sweets. I really sat down, me and the other half of my husband sat down, because why do you really like sweets? Like the smell of chocolate chip cookies automatically makes me angry, makes me really want to hurt somebody, or it makes me totally sick. So I actually recently just said,
you're like the only person in the continent.
I know. I know. Like, I can eat a cookie every once in a while, but it's totally not often, and I don't cook that much sweets. But in doing my shadow work, I found out that it came from my family, because everybody in my family loves sweets, and I've watched them eat sweets all my life, and I watched them get sick. So I automatically associate sweets with sickness. But I had to tap into my shadow work to go back. Like, I watched my mom every night. She ate half a bag of chocolate chip cookies and a glass of milk, which is part of the reason why I hate milk now. I also hate milk as well. Unless it's almond milk. I hate cow's milk. I won't do cow's milk. So, a lot of that comes from that. And then one of the things that I truly love is seafood, and I actually did shadow work on that. And I realized my love of seafood came from my best family times with my family all together. It was always around seafood. It was never around burgers. It was always around seafood. And when I say recently, I recently just did the shadow work in the last 2 weeks, because I was trying to figure out why – I have to have food a certain way, why I need certain food around me, or why certain foods I don't want nowhere near me. And I found out that's what came from it. But since we're talking about food, for those who made resolutions of New Year to do a lifestyle change, to try to change up, do y'all have any suggestions or any ways to incorporate? Keep in mind, we're going to go to a break in about 10 minutes, but do you have any ways or suggestions for how people can incorporate new lifestyle habits or little changes into their everyday life, so it doesn't seem like a big jump? Because we all know those big jumps, those diets do not work. They never work. But there's certain little things, we all can do every day, no matter what our diet is, that can, promote the change and keep the change going.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to focus on, in the very beginning, if you want to improve your health. I'm all for eating whole foods, preferably organic, straight from Mother Nature, as close to their natural state as possible. But there's a lot of things that seem counterintuitive because of some bad science and corporations that pay to get their messages presented to us by doctors, that it's just not true, which I think is very witchy if you go back to the old ways, like the way that your great-grandmother prepared food. A lot of those people actually had a better idea of what's healthy for our body. And some really great news for everyone except for vegans is that butter, grass-fed butter from grass-fed cows, not factory-farmed cows, but real grass-fed organic butter, is awesome for you. It has A, D, E, and K, vitamins A, D, E, and K, and it has this awesome magical ability to help your body assimilate the nutrients in vegetables. So you get to steam your broccoli and smother it in butter, and it not only gives you the benefits of the good, healthy fats that are in the butter, that are going to give you sustained, lasting energy, which is going to prevent you from overeating and getting fat. Fat does not make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. Grains make you fat. butter and healthy fats like coconut oil do not make you fat. And then it also has, like I just said, the additional benefit of helping your body process the nutrients that are available in the greens that you're eating. So it's like a win-win. And I just think that's really
definitely.
good news.
Yeah.
Are
you kidding me? I am a butter queen. So now this butter that you're talking about, is this something you get at like the Whole Foods market or, something like that?
I have more good news for you. There's a brand called Kerrygold that is grass-fed butter, and you can get that at Trader Joe's, and you can also get it at Costco. So you don't have to have a health food store to get access to that. And if you don't want to eat butter, you can eat coconut oil if you're a vegan and get a similar effect. You won't get the full effect. You'll get different benefits because coconut oil has its own benefits, but that's a good alternative for people who don't want to eat butter or who are extremely lactose intolerant. But if you are sensitive to milk, there's a really good chance that you can get away with butter. So that's worth testing as well, because it doesn't have the milk, it doesn't have the proteins in it. It's just fat. So it's a good thing to play around with.
Someone in the chat room asks, is butter better than margarine? And I'm going to say yes. I don't know if everybody agrees.
Do not eat margarine.
Never eat margarine.
That's what I've heard.
One ingredient. Margarine is 1 or 2 ingredients away from being plastic, so you never want to eat margarine. You want natural butter.
Don't eat anything non-fat. I mean, this is something that I got really passionate about. With, and I know that this is my own strange thing, but to me, this is so witchy. It's like, aren't witches about connecting with nature and Mother Nature? To me, this is just so commonsensical. You're already on that path. It's like, eat real food from Mother Nature, not something that comes out of a factory. God, no, not like factory farmed animals, and don't contribute to that kind of abuse, but real healthy animals that are eating grass and in the sunshine and eating their natural diet, or, you don't want something that's made on an assembly line with chemicals. That makes no sense if you're going to be working with Mother
margarine.
Nature. For sure.
I mean, that's pretty sad. Because I've heard that too.
People didn't know, and they still don't know because we were taught to eat that to be healthy. So I definitely think that we've been sent a really bad message, and it's starting to change slowly. It's been changing for the last 15 years or so, and it's starting to hit the mainstream, but people still don't know. So it's a good message to put out there.
Yeah, and one of the things I want people, like you said, don't fall for the non-fat, the low-fat, or sugar-free. That means they have to chemically process it in order to make it non-fat, low-fat, or sugar-free, or they have to use some type of chemical replacement for the sugar because obviously it's still going to taste sweet. One of the things that I do want to give as a tip, since we're talking about butter, I want to give a tip that I still use most of the time now, even though I have brought butter back into our lives. But for those who are vegan and don't want to eat, but like strict vegan, no animal byproducts whatsoever, you can actually fake that butter taste. You will not get that creaminess, but you can kind of get that salty, sweet, kind of tangy taste. And how I used to always fake the butter taste, and when I tell you no one knew, I would use either olive oil or safflower oil, a little bit of kosher salt or Himalayan salt, and the key to it was adding just a tad bit of coconut vinegar. So in a pan, what you would do, in a pan, what you do is you heat up whatever oil that you're using, whether it's olive oil, coconut oil, whatever oil has a low burn rate, and to that you add a little bit of salt, your salt, and then a couple of drops of coconut vinegar. I haven't tried it with any other vinegar. I've only done it with coconut vinegar, so to me you must have that. And add a little coconut vinegar, let it heat up. You don't want it to burn. Let it heat up, and then use it on whatever it is you want to use. If you're about to make, a sandwich, a grilled sandwich, or if you're about to cook some vegetables in it, whatever it is. That's how, when I was vegan, I'm no longer vegan, but when I was vegan, that's how I used to always fake the butter taste, and no one ever knew.
Wow, girl, I never even heard of that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was vegan for a couple of years. I couldn't let go of
I
my
was
seafood
talking
for
about
a
your
couple of years.
I was talking about your tip. I was like, that tip is amazing. I love that because it's not something that you hear about, and I've never heard of that. So, which is, I love that. I think that's just totally interesting. I'm like, wow, something I haven't heard of. Miraculous.
Yes. Oh, we're close to that time to go to our commercial break. So, everybody, again, the caller number is 347-989-8851. Again, the caller number is area code 347-989-8851. If you are calling to get that free reading, you want to call in now, press the number 1. When I come back, I will ask our guest to guess numbers from 1 to 10, and whichever number she guesses, or however many callers we have, whatever number she guesses, the number I'm going to pick right after the commercial break, and then that person will receive the free reading. So, everybody, we will be right back.
E kanue sanu na me kani na a. Ele wesna I kani vasna me I kani esna unakan. Ale tina tuikani me I atuna awan. Alasna e kiasane ayosna mi anawan. E vesna hatuikani.
Rivers of speech run smoothly and honey flavors your tongue. So the words can sweeten your spirit and fly to the Father's ears and lift you up in delight.
For a customized light language channeling from the universe to you, go to Glammy'sAngels.com. That's Glammy'sAngels.com. You're now listening to Practical Spirituality with your host, Oasis, and co-host, Glammy Witch.
All right. That was a very, very quick commercial break because it's only an hour show, of course. For those of you who are just tuning in, we have the KiCkAss Witch, Joanna DeVoe herself, on this show. She's all about setting your intentions and doing everything right, and also doing it with love. And to learn more about her, check out her website, JoannaDeVoe.com, and her Psycho-Spiritual Wheel of the Year. We also, of course, always is with our co-host, Glammy. I'm going to need to stop calling her co-host because she's like another host. She's talking more than I do. But with other host, Glammy Witch, my love, my darling, the beautiful. She also has her own website, GlammyAngels.com. As you heard, you get all your readings. And Valentine's Day is coming up. So if you want your relationship readings, go ahead to her site because she is the queen of that, boo. Now, if you want regular readings just for yourself and self-love and learn all about that, because I'm about self-love first, you can hit my website, which is Oasis.com. But right now, we're going to get into this free reading. Miss Joanna, the beautiful KiCkAss Witch. I just love saying her name. KiCkAss Witch. I'm saying it again. KiCkAss Witch.
All right. I love it, too.
I just love saying it. I need you to pick a number from 1 to... we actually have less ones this time, but still a good amount. So pick a number from 1 to 10, and that person is going to win the free reading.
7.
7. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Area code 661. Somehow this number looks familiar, but I hope it's not what I think it is. Area code 661. Last 3 digits 0240. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Sherry from Texas.
Hi, Sherry. You are our winner of the free reading.
Thank you.
That's awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull some cards and see what we get. I'm going to put my phone on speakerphone. I hope you guys will be able to hear me. And do you have a particular question or do you just want me to just go for it and see what's there?
Let's go for it and see what's there. It probably will be what I'm thinking anyway. So.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. So the first card that comes up is the 5 of obstacles. And so that's about, in this it's a picture of somebody on the road, and then some of the road has fallen away. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. So let's see what we can, I feel like there are maybe people around you who kind of aren't they're not like your cheerleaders. You know what I'm saying? Like having people who are super supportive and, always have your back. I feel like there may be one or two people who are just kind of what I call like a negative Nancy, who's just, does that, do you know people like that?
Well, I'm kind of going down my own path, and I don't really have a support system. So you're probably kind of describing quite a few people. Not that they mean me harm. It's just that I'm the only one that believes the way I believe.
All right. Yeah, because that's definitely amongst, definitely on the path where you want to kind of get back on the road. I think sticking to that, honestly, I think it's the right path for you for right now, because I feel like you just need to go on your own way for a little while, and, and maybe eventually that will change. But right now, I feel like very intensely you need to just work on you and work on yourself, okay? So I want to see what the cards show as, okay, what do we need to do to get back on the path and to get you forging ahead and moving forward? Okay, so then we have the card that comes up is called Observe. And what it has 4 people in the 4 corners of the card all looking at the center. So this is looking at things in your life from a totally different perspective. A lot of times you have to take yourself out of it, if that makes any sense. You have to look from a bird's eye point of view. And for women, what I always suggest is that you have to take the emotion out of making the next decisions that you have to make. You really kind of have to take your emotion out of it, because that's where sometimes we get steered wrong. Maybe things have kind of put us in a place where our past is kind of affecting where we are now. And so sometimes we have to step away from that and look at our lives more as a bystander, and kind of think like a guy, basically, and think logically to make your decisions and moving forward than using your emotions, if that makes sense, and just saying, you know what, which I think you may be kind of on that path, because now you're like, okay, you know what, I'm doing this alone so that my stuff doesn't get convoluted. But I think that that would be really helpful, is to kind of just look at things from a different perspective, because sometimes, we'll keep trying to keep that, that little square peg and try to keep pounding it and get into a circle. And it's like, okay, you know what, that didn't work. So we have to switch gears, and I have to do things in a different way, and I have to look at it and come at it from a different angle. And it reminds me kind of the Hangman card, which, the guy is upside down. And when he's upside down, he's turned upside down up against a tree, and it's like, okay, you know what? This is a totally different perspective. I can look at this in a different way. And then the next card that I get is Partnerships and Alliances, and usually this card is more about not personal partnerships like relationships, but this is more about having ideas if you're thinking about doing something on your own, or getting somebody else's opinion, or working with somebody else on something. It could be a project, it could be something that you've been wanting to do, and just saying, okay, getting that professional advice, getting that advice from somebody else, or just pairing up with somebody else to kind of get yourself out there. Does that make sense?
Sort of, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I feel like, and then is that if there's anything, that you've been thinking about, just work with, just work with somebody else, or work with somebody different. Okay. And these new partnerships and alliances, I think maybe forthcoming. They'll be coming, and that's, I feel like you're just going to start having like maybe some new opportunities. So just keep your eyes open and keep yourself open for somebody coming up to you and giving you an idea or talking to you about something that normally you would be like, you know what, that's not really my thing. Like, I'm not, that's, and they're just saying, you know what, hear that person out and consider doing it, because, the best thing for you to do right now is kind of step outside the box. Try to, sometimes we have to take things and get out of our comfort zone, and I feel like that's what they're telling you to do. You have to kind of get out of your comfort zone, and if you want things to be different, then you have to really kind of do things differently.
And that's exactly what my question was. I'm trying to relocate, but I really need to get to this other place, and I don't know how to do it logistically.
Well, Sherry, I pulled a couple of cards for you, too, and the first card I got was creation, which goes along with everything you're trying to create, but the second card I got for you was perception. So with that, the feeling that I really got with that is a warning, because your perception of what you see around you is based, it seems like it's coming from your past and not necessarily what you want. So be very careful how you're perceiving things according to how things used to be and not how things you want to be. That directly is affecting your abundance in your future and going forward. And also with doing that, I also pulled the perseverance card, which shows that this perception that you have, or whatever it is, this thing that you let go some of it, but you haven't fully let go. This is messing with your perseverance. It's like you're starting and you get yourself going, and then all of a sudden something reminds you of something else, and you're pulling back a little bit, and you're pulling back right at the time where you need to push forward. Also, I pulled the gratitude card, but with the gratitude card, what I'm really feeling is that these little things that you should be having gratitude over, you're not. And it's not big things. It's not big things. There's very little things that you're overlooking that will give you the extra oomph, the extra thing you need, that idea or that sense of, or that right perspective, that right perception of where you need to go. Does that make sense?
I don't know how else I can do anything other than, because it sounds like what you're saying is that it's happening spiritually. And like I said, I'm working on manifesting as best I can. I mean, if I could make it go faster, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I would. I totally
exactly.
would.
What you just said, if I could make it go faster, I totally would. That deals with perception. You think it should go faster, but things are going slower. It's because it needs to be set up in a certain way. So you have to. That's what I mean by your perception is messing with your manifestation. You don't want everything fast. You know this saying, everything that glitters isn't gold. Well, everything fast is always what you want. Easy come, easy go. If it needs to take time, let it take time so that it will manifest in the way that's most beneficial to you. All you need to do is keep the faith, keep going, and pray. And again, the perseverance card, persevere and be grateful for the little things that you're overlooking because you want it to be so fast. Be grateful for the little things, and it will come at the right time. It's supposed to come to you. That doesn't say stop working. That doesn't say, twiddle your fingers and say, oh, it's going to happen magically. No. You're going to have to put work into this. But what it's saying is, don't try to make it come faster than what you need to, because what happens when you try to make it come faster, you're going to take the opportunities that are not the best for you. Take your time and look at it fully, and then give yourself the time to pick the best opportunity, not the quickest, not the first, but the best. And this is where the perseverance come in.
And then I believe the partnerships and alliances, where that comes in is that somebody will come in to kind of help you, kind of kickstart you being able to get to this other, to relocate. So just really, and it will come from an unexpected person or place. Like you will just never think of this in a million years, and then all of a sudden, somebody will be talking about it and will kind of help you out. And you'll be like, wow, I never, this is not any. Your team will just go ahead and send someone to you, and it's not going to be, where the people that you may have been trying to get help from or saying, hey, I'm trying to do this, and they haven't been really maybe, that hasn't been helpful to you. I feel like the help that you're going to get to relocate is not going to come from anywhere that you expect. So just, keep yourself open, right? Just keep yourself open to what the opportunity is going to be, because you're not going to expect it from the quarter that it comes from, so you might miss it. So just keep yourself open.
And I don't want you guys to think that I'm just chomping at the bit, but I am just. I know it's the end of the road, and I'm anxious, but I'm not. I'm just sitting here thinking, but I'm not actually doing anything negative.
Can I hop in here for a second? I have an idea about something that Glammy was mentioning, the Hanged Man, and this is traditionally about being in limbo. like in between two places. But I think a really neat way to think about it is if you think about the hangman hanging upside down from his leg and like that cord that he's hanging from, women traditionally, before we had hospitals, when they had babies, they would like squat and the baby would come out head first, hanging from an umbilical cord. And you can kind of think about giving birth to this new aspect of your life, this new venture, this new feeling that you're moving into. And when a woman has a baby, kind of the worst thing she can do is to push before her body's ready and to force it, because then what can happen is you end up ripping, not to be too graphic. So if you're having a baby, the best thing to do is just trust gravity and to allow, and your body will know when it's time to push. So maybe if you're giving birth to a new spirituality or a new road, a new job, a new location, to just kind of surrender to what is and trust that you will know when it's time to push.
That sounds good, and that's a good way to rest your mind while you wait, to look at it differently.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sherry, for calling in. We have to wrap up the show now, but Sherry, thank you for calling in. Congratulations again to winning the free reading, and Happy New Year, and I wish you all the best. I'm going to put you back on mute right now. The show is coming to a close. I know it was fast, but that's how I like it, fast, quick, to the point. Yes. So,
it's a quickie.
Yes, this will add. Well, I don't know about quickies, but you know what? I'm keeping it friendly. This will add our KiCkAss Witch. Tell us once again exactly what is your services and where they can find you.
You can find everything that I do. You have to put the www in. It's www.joannadevoe.com, and it's about practical magic, being a kick-ass witch. Self-love, shadow work, all that good stuff. I have a free ebook. If you don't know where to start with the free ebook. And it outlines 7 steps to creating a kick-ass sense of self-love, and I think that's an awesome place to begin.
Okay. Is there any place they can find you on social media outside of your website?
Everywhere. You can find me everywhere by Joanna DeVoe. I'm on Twitter as Joanna DeVoe. I'm on Facebook as Joanna DeVoe, Instagram, Pinterest. If you Google Joanna DeVoe, I'll just pop up everywhere.
Okay. And my lovely other host, Glammy, how can we find you and get in contact with you, and what do you do?
Okay. Well, I just kind of kickstart women. that should be mine. Kick-ass. Get them in a kick-ass mode of, relationships and things like that. So what I did this week, I kind of put my foot in my mouth. I made a video, and I said that my $28 year ahead, which is a 12-month spread, was $10 instead of saying $10 off, and now I'm having to honor it. And that was for the rest of the month of January. So if you want a reading for $10, go to Glammy'sAngels.com and hit the donate button. Pay $10, and you got a $20 reading for $10. Wow.
All right. And for those who don't know, my name is Dia, a.k.a. Ori Oasis. You can find me on OrisOasis.com, OrisOasis.com for all your spiritual needs, your astrological reading. I also do oracle readings and spiritual channelings. Other than that, I do apologize for all the callers we did not get to, but we have to stay on time tonight. So we love you. Have a blessed weekend. Have a blessed New Year, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Thank you.